Hello, everyone. My name's Lucas. Lucas Len, per se. But that's not what's important right now. Before we start, I'd like to announce that this episode, episode 10, Giant Thunder's Problems, had an issue within the recording. We're not entirely sure what happened, and we've been looking into it as of late, but we ended up only noticing this issue after our recording was finished. As we know, future episodes will probably suffer the same fate, and we are working hard to not have the problem happen. This is unexpected, and we expect it to happen in the future until we find our problem. So for now, we hope that these announcements is a warning for half episodes we have of recording to show you. We do hope you enjoy, stay safe out there, and keep your dice about you.
Last time you guys were traveling through the Azerfeltian Forest, encountered some remnant of Santiago's past, although I'm not sure Santiago entirely knew what remnant that was either, and had a brief encounter with the Remorhaz. That remnant was seemingly a high-ranking member of the Azerfeltian Guard, and two people he seemed to have dragged along. A small gnome who specialized seemingly in illusionary magics, who you threatened
I thought they were a halfling.
beat up. Oh yeah, sorry, they were a halfling. Who you threatened to kick the shit out of, and eventually made them scamper on back to Azerfeld through the freezing cold wastes of the forest without any gear or supplies.
Oh, they're probably dead.
Maybe he got back, maybe he didn't. The other one, who I believe was an elf or a half-elf or something? No, he was a tiefling, my bad. Who you guys only saw for a brief moment, who apparently had run off and you hadn't seen him again, so who knows what happened to him. And the third and last one, the most prominent one, was the actual high-ranking guard who was chasing Santiago in the first place, who, as far as you guys can tell, has been consumed by the Remorhaz. So hopefully that's not going to be a problem in the future.
If he lives through Remorhaz digestion, there's a problem.
It'll be like it'll be the Boba Fett of this game.
Boba Fett.
We're gonna kick him back into the Dremorhag 2 more times.
Boba Fett.
Aside from that, you guys hunkered down for a blizzard and pretty bad snow. And in the morning had found a half-frozen, half-dead griffin, who apparently in some way has been captured by poachers, who may have met the same grisly end as our little guard friend. In a very long, very worried period of time, you guys managed to convince the griffin you were on its side enough to cut it free, enough to try and help it, feed it a little bit, and get it back into a cave where all of you can chill.
Yui Lucas managed to do that.
Yes.
I completely forgot
that
we took the effort.
The only one who did not do the effort was Santiago. Everyone else assisted. Bader helped with the trap, Aaron helped with the net and getting there in the first place. Lucas and Yui actually calmed it down and got it free. Santiago was like, let's just fucking go.
Because it was gonna die.
And Lucas just looks at him with the dirtiest shit-eating look.
It was gonna die, and there was a fucking worm about.
So, how long? So, you guys did roll a nature check, and you figure that the Remorhaz probably doesn't eat a huge amount given where it is. And if it's snapped on both poachers and a guard, and potentially a halfling and a tiefling, maybe. It's probably not going to be hungry for a little bit, at least for the next few days. That being said, how long are you guys staying in that cave with that griffin before you head back out to Spireheld?
Didn't we go to sleep?
Yeah, we went to sleep. We took a long rest.
You did, but I'm asking you in a more general sense, how long are you planning to stay? How long do you want to stay with this griffin? To let it heal up, or do you want to go ahead and leave? What are you doing?
I guess.
Well, how's the griffin doing? Let's talk that first.
No,
it did survive the night. It did survive the night. When you guys kind of wake up, it's still asleep, and it sleeps till hurt. It's still slightly frozen. You can tell that certain parts of it have been really badly impacted by the cold and other such factors. Its wings look mangled and fucked up. At least one of them does. And it'll probably be another couple weeks before that heals in order for it to fly again.
Can I perform a medicine check? Can I see if we leave it alone, will it still have a decent chance of survival?
Roll me then.
That is a 16 plus 1. That's a 17.
It's definitely really badly injured, and its primary method of hunting is likely flying around and catching shit. It probably also lives up in the mountains, but it probably lives in a cave. If you left it here, it would probably have a 50-50 chance of making it out alive.
I mean, that's better than what it was.
Oh yeah, before it was like 2% chance.
90-20, like 90-10.
Yeah. What are you guys thinking?
What does everybody fare?
Every day you stay with it, you'll increase its chances of living. But also, you're spending more time, and you should be getting your ass to Spireheld.
As much as I'd like to stay with it, we do need to get out of the frozen waste.
I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
Because Spireheld is at least another week's trip?
I think by the time everyone was sort of up and about, Santiago was sort of keeping watch towards the mouth of the cave.
I figure. Given that's what you've been doing with this time, I kind of assume that Santiago is up, awake, keeping watch, making sure everything's good.
And also just kind of not being very respondent if anyone tried to say good morning to them.
What's Vader, Yui, and Lucas doing while Santiago is up and keeping watch?
Worried about that griffin, if anything. If you want me to be dead ass honest, that's what Lucas is worried about.
I'm watching Lucas as I'm getting myself ready for the morning, getting the clips in the hair and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think?
Chance than the 90-10 it probably was. 90 on death.
What is Vader doing?
But I think the thing that needs to happen is somebody or somehow this griffin needs to realize that children are dead.
Hold on, Sam. Vader.
Oh, I was letting them talk.
Yeah, I know, but I'm asking you, what are you doing, just to get an idea of where everyone is.
Just sort of watching the griffin, getting ready.
Keeping an eye on it as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you can do all that.
Somebody needs to tell me. Somebody or somehow this griffin needs to realize its children are not coming back. I know what you did made it feel better, but no, how to communicate that? If I had a spell that let me speak to it, I would.
I can't say I know any way to do so.
Like, is the griffin asleep?
Currently, yeah.
Is Yui still laying on it?
No, I moved away from it so I didn't get kicked in the stomach in my sleep.
Regardless, I kind of leaving it while it's asleep. Yeah, that kind of feels rude.
Santiago, are you inside the cave or are you right outside the cave?
I'm like in the mouth of the cave.
Roll me a perception check real quick.
Okay.
Everyone continue on what you were doing.
Yeah.
What do you think we should wake it up? Or do you think we should just... I personally want to let it sleep, but also I don't want it to think like we abandoned it. It probably lives somewhere up in the Heartspires, but that wing is going to take...
It's going to take time to heal.
16, Justin.
There is smoke from a fire down to your right, towards the direction Azerfeld is in. You can see smoke from a fire drifting kind of slowly and lazily into the morning sky.
Yeah, I'll turn back and say, whatever y'all are deciding to do with that thing, you should do it quick, because there's folks. They seem to have been coming from Azerfeld. I'd like to get out of here as quick as possible.
Yes, and I'd also like to have a conversation with you as soon as possible.
Can we have it on the road?
Yeah.
I think we've done all we can here. Much as I'd love to stay for a few days in order to make sure our friend can make it back to the sky, we have a time limit.
Then it was, which is all I care about, really. I think we should just let it sleep.
Can I have Yui just put her hand on it, see if anything happens? Just gently.
Still asleep. It's breathing surprisingly calmly. Surprisingly peacefully.
Hey. We're gonna be going.
I'm gonna, pick up North and, I'm gonna hold her kind of, inside the jacket, and I'm gonna walk out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Okay. You?
I'm going with them.
I'm already.
You're already out of that. Okay. You've got all your supplies. Kit Kat is also kind of hanging around. They're grabbing off all their stuff too. You guys manage to gather up all your supplies, leaving it alone, and as you finally kind of leave the cave early in the morning, it is still asleep. It's not woken up. And you guys leave with a faint kind of pillar of smoke behind you guys, still slowly rising to the sky as you make your way down towards Spire. We're not gonna do too much here because most of your journey is gonna be pretty much safe.
Summarized as camping.
Pretty much, just camping for the rest of the way.
How many days exactly? Because I do have the ration.
You guys are already on 2 days. Let me see. Hold on. You guys were about 2 days into the journey. And you have to keep up a pretty decent pace because Santiago, you basically keep an eye on this the entire time. That pillar of smoke, you pretty quickly realize, even during the first day, it really becomes apparent further on, that pillar of smoke is not a campfire. Because it's staying consistently behind you guys. You don't know what, no. Because it's moving along with you guys. Something is following you, giving off a fuck ton of smoke. You don't think it's a fire or anything, like a forest fire. One, because these trees don't catch very well, are covered in fucking smell. And two, because it's not this huge thing. It's just a single pillar of smoke. Besides a campfire you're seeing. That seems to slowly be following you. That's not super fast. You're able to keep ahead of it as long as you keep moving and rest every night. But it is consistently following.
And there's no other sort of indications what it might be.
Not that you can see. You could always head back and see what it is.
No.
No, let's not.
Mm-mm.
I have a guess and don't want to find out.
What do you think it
I also
is?
have a guess, but don't want to find out.
I think it's our giant snake friend.
Did it give off smoke before?
No, before it did not.
Can I roll some kind of check in any way?
It'll be incredibly hard, but sure, you can roll me a intelligence.
Guess who got advantage
Or
on that just now?
intelligence, nature, I guess, history, maybe religion, actually.
All of those are intelligence. So I would pick the highest and roll with advantage. Oh, fuck.
Did you just drop your dice?
Religion or what?
Really hard check. Religion, history, not nature, survival. I don't make sense of this. Religion, history, maybe Arcana? I don't really know what this would classify under.
This is intelligence, and they're all +6. Give me a 19 +6.
You don't know what this is, but given the way that it's just continually following you, it seems to be moving very slowly, but very consistently. It doesn't seem to rest during the night, because during the night, it's way closer than it was the day before. So you guys have to move considerably faster if you want to keep ahead of it and maintain your distance. So it doesn't seem to be rusting. It doesn't seem to be stopping, but it seems to be moving very slowly.
So it's not the remorhaz.
And it's something giving off a fuck ton of smoke. You don't know if it's real smoke or magical smoke or what.
It's not the remorhaz, right? That's what I was rolling to figure out. Don't think it is. Doesn't seem like it. Didn't give off smoke last time. And these trees don't catch really well. Safe to say it's a person. Or people bending.
Does it ever stop at any point?
No. Like, it moves really slowly, but even during the night, like keeping shifts, keeping watch, this pillar of smoke never stops moving. And and every time you try and, like, if you try and zigzag or anything, if you ever do zigzag in the forest, it'll take you a little more time. Do you try and zigzag to try and, like, throw it off a little bit? It'll increase your time just a little bit, but
I don't know, because we're just talking about it in character. Whatever it is, I don't think it's a person. Someone couldn't just continuously march like that for days on end through the woods, through the cold and the snow. Some sort of creature. Might be best not to let it know. But then it's so visible. I just want to get the fuck out of here as soon as possible.
The quicker we
To be
move.
honest.
Of any creatures that give off smoke that are mostly fire-based of any kind?
There's a lot of different creatures that are fire-based. Fire is the most common damage type in D&D. It's the most commonly resistant one. However, most fire creatures, if they do give off smoke, it's not a huge amount, because most fire creatures that exist, like fire elementals or fire djinn or anything like that, they don't burn materials to keep going. Fire elementals are just balls of fire. They aren't burning wood to keep going. They are moving balls of fire. So while there is smoke, there's not an excessive amount. It's not really black or anything. Whatever this is, you don't know.
Well, I personally couldn't tell you. There's fire djinn and elementals, but those are on completely different planes of existence than us.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not
Well,
natural.
there are smoke monsters like smoke, like the phantoms, the geists and stuff, but those aren't really a common thing. And they ask Falcon, this is a huge amount building in the sky. It's like a walking campfire that you haven't heard before. Maybe a fire golem, but then it would probably burn out before the day ends or get frozen over.
I just say exactly that.
Maybe it's not natural.
Yeah, no shit, it ain't natural.
Like magic or a machine then?
Probably, it might be a machine.
I think we just
That
need to keep moving as
make
fast
a lot
as we
of
can.
sense.
Maybe not let it know that we know
But-
about it. I don't know if it has that sort of intelligence.
Vader, do you know any machines that do that? Well, I mean, you know machines that do
Do
that,
I?
but like
Bader,
anything that's reminiscent?
I'm not even gonna have you roll for this. This is like your area of expertise. So there isn't coal, and there is gunpowder in this world. There is not coal. They use different sources of fire and different sources of fuel that is primarily sourced from the desert towards the south. There are loads of machines that give off smoke and stuff like that, but most of them are very large, very loud, and a lot of them are very volatile. This thing is moving super consistently, and if it is giving off this much smoke, it would need basically a stupid amount of fuel to keep going.
Yeah.
But it is more than possible. Yeah, if they had like a bag of holding that was like bigger than yours or anything like that, it is possible that it's machines sometimes. They would just require a lot of smoke and be a pretty advanced, but also pretty like polluting and simple machine. So it's kind of like a weird little mixture where it's like, you know.
Couldn't you consider the wood in the halo tip spears to be fuel?
You could, but again, it burns terribly. Even if it wasn't frozen over and always wet, the wood here is just not good firewood. It is amazing building wood. This wood is sturdy and strong and pliable, and it basically never dries out. But in terms of building a fire with it, it's really shitty. You
Yeah,
guys
it
got to
never
look at
dries
it.
out.
So it's fantastic building wood, really bad firewood. You can get lucky with small branches and stuff that have fires, but anything more or longer than that is going to be very not consistent.
Okay, well, whatever it is, I don't want to find out, so I say we keep moving.
As long as you keep moving,
That's what I figured we were doing too.
you can keep ahead. And if you move at a fast pace, you'll use some more rations, but you will keep ahead of it, and you probably pull ahead of it considerably.
Fine. I'd rather keep going full pace.
Mm-hmm.
So would you rather keep going at a consistent pace and use the 3 rations a day, or do you want to use double the rations but go at like double the speed? It'll pull
We
you
have
guys
123 rations, and I am keeping up with the number.
How do we go doubles? Is everyone just sprinting?
No,
The whole day?
you're walking for longer.
Oh. I don't know why. I just imagined everyone running.
Yes, this is Skyrim. We're just sprinting while shoveling food into our face.
This is Breath of the Wild.
I know, I pictured it like a video game.
And sprint with a piece of jerky going.
Can't wait to find the magic magnet that allows us to bend the laws of physics.
Faster, Yui! Faster! Eat your jerky! Sorry.
I was imagining a Breath of the Wild situation. Okay. I think we should just...
Hold on, give them a minute. They're giggling too much.
I think we should just keep up what we've been doing.
Yeah.
It's consistent pace for now, yeah.
Yeah, unless it seems like it's ever like speeding up or something, then we might have to worry, but if our regular pace is faster than it, we shouldn't have a problem.
Okay. The days continue. Do you try and do the zigzag plan, or do you just keep going straight?
I mean, I don't see why for one day we don't try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does everyone go together, or does like one
We
person
go together.
off, like half the group?
Safety in numbers, motherfucker.
We don't
Yeah.
up here.
So you guys are gonna like kind of like go at a pretty like steep angle to like the right, to like, the edge of like the world, basically.
Yeah.
The edge of the forests. I'll describe this because you guys haven't really been here before. As you guys kind of come up to what is basically the edge of the world, you guys come along, walking through the forest, and the snow kind of slightly clears a little bit, but it's still very prevalent, very heavy. I'm sure that all of you have at one point been near the edge of the major islands or major continents. Maybe Yui hasn't. That's up to them to decide.
Lucas definitely
As you
has.
approach, though, do you guys look over the edge, or do you keep a safe distance from it?
I look over the edge.
Lucas, don't fall
Lucas.
over the...
What?
Oh,
I'm
keep
interested.
over
I
here.
only see off the theorem anyway.
And you see, as you know, the edge of this huge continent is this enormous rocky plateau pillar that extends downwards and downwards and downwards. Azerfelt was a little unique because the crystals that form on these pillars are blue instead of red like everywhere else. And you can see these little dotted blue crystals considerably further from where you are now, kind of dotting down there, probably worth ridiculous amounts of money if someone managed to get down there and mine. But it's incredibly dangerous with these heavy cloud layers and storms that sometimes appear, and it's just not safe at all. Not to mention the airships in this world are not stable at all. Airships in this world are prone to blowing up because of the fuel they use.
Potion I have on
Let
me.
me put it this way. The fuel used to power airships is the same fuel used to spark gunpowder. So it's not super safe.
It seems a little dumb.
Well, it's all they have.
They're just exploding across the sky.
I mean, what is a car if not fueled by explosions?
Exactly. Literally, yes. But as you look down, it is this rocky pillar, like plateaus and different ledges, like scraggly bits kind of reaching out of it into the air. But yeah.
But I reckon that the potion I have on me, considering what you've told me about it, the crystals that it's made of probably hail from over here.
Probably. Are you guys gonna stay here the night? Was that the plan for the zigzag thing to see if that would work?
Yeah, we're trying to see if that would.
See if it really was following you, or if it's just like a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, once you guys turned, and something like you're keeping an eye on it, everyone's keeping an eye on it. You can see that it is going perfectly in your guys' direction, as if it knows exactly where you are. Like as you move, it doesn't you don't move and it updates to follow you. As you move, its own path changes.
Following a waypoint. Maybe we shouldn't stay near the edge in that case.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Stop standing so close to it. Lucas just not paying attention to that.
No, I mean, I stepped away from it. I know fucking how dangerous it is. I'm not that fucking stupid.
By the way, Lucas, Galileo has been quite quiet about this. Although occasionally, over the time, as you guys have mentioned and watched this, he has mentioned on many occasions how fire is bad for his skin pages.
Galileo, I very much understand. The thing is, though, is that if you get in the hands of anyone else that's not willing to help you, bad thing, don't you think?
I understand that perfectly fine. What I'm saying is keep away from whatever is causing that.
You have any idea of anything that might do that?
Trust me, we're trying. It's not our fault that it's decided it's our biggest fan.
I'm leaning over to Bader. Did he just say skin? Was that thing cast in, like, people? Skin?
I think it means it's pages.
That makes more sense. Okay.
Galileo, you mentioned you could do something with that spell we've given you. What does that mean?
In time, sure, but as of right now, it seems that my waned powers too weak to even cast this. Indeed.
What do you need, like somebody to cast it through? Like,
I'm not entirely sure. As it is, what I need the most of is more power. But in all seriousness, I need unlimited power. Just imagine that scene with Palpatine, but on his face is a book instead of Palpatine's face.
He's just a book.
So, like you're not sure if you need like a person medium to go through, or like a medium at all.
I've never had in the past. Perhaps that would help now, but I'm not even sure how that would work. As it stands, what I need is to come back to my full strength, or at least even a fraction of my strength.
You know I'm more than willing to help you.
Are you sure that's a good idea, though?
Who cares about good ideas?
Good point.
Galileo gets silent. And after a few minutes, you see his contemplation. It's like, I'll think on it, but as of right now, the answer is no!
We'll see in due time.
Just so you know, out of character, out of game, you will eventually be able to cast that spell if you do manage to help him get some of his power back. As of right now, the spell is in his banks, but he can't cast it. Anyway, though, you guys continue for a few days more. The zigzagging didn't help at all. And whatever this thing is, it seems to keep slowly following you, despite how crazy slow it is. Even moving at a normal pace, you seem to be pulling ahead of it if you have shorter nights and wake up a little earlier, you know?
Yeah.
Most of the traction it gains is during the night when you guys aren't moving at all.
Can I perform something one night?
What?
I wanted to perform augury.
Sure.
Early in the morning, preferably. Because it specifies within the next hour, I think.
Let me see.
Within the next 30 minutes. Specific course of plan of action.
Yeah. What is your specific course of action?
Trying to probably the plan of action is to stay out of. Will we be able to stay out of the way of whatever is following us? Kind of
That's
a
not
question.
how the spell works.
That's like the plan of action is to stay away from it.
Okay. The plan of action is just to keep ahead of it?
Yeah, I just phrased it as a question because that was the best way I had.
Okay. Well, it's not a question, but I get what you're saying. So you lay down.
An answer.
What are you using the ornate cards?
Yeah, I'm using my cards.
Okay, you laid them down. You can see these as well, and you kind of recognize the answer. Lucas, you're much less experienced with the cards in general, what they mean, but you're experienced enough to understand what it's trying to tell you. And the combination of cards they've laid out seem to be spelling out wheel, which means that continuing to stay ahead of it will probably in the next 30 minutes specifically have good consequences, or potentially, well, actually, never mind. There is nothing. You don't get wheel or woe.
Yeah, it doesn't give me wheel or woe?
No, it gives you nothing.
Which ones do those mean again?
Nothing means that there just aren't any results that are especially good or bad.
I will scruffily pick up my cards that morning.
Okay.
As the whole time we've been going, aside from talking about strategy and telling him not to do things that are dumb, Cynthia has kind of been like avoiding eye contact with Lucas.
Have you been doing that the entire time?
Yeah.
Since when?
All I'm gonna say is that, because Justin says a couple days have like passed every time, so like one of those days, I'm just gonna go. You realize I might be good at street smarts, but I'm definitely good at figuring out when somebody's refusing eye contact with me, Santiago. We have much to discuss.
Well, I'd rather we had nothing to discuss.
Well, I think getting slightly tangled up in whatever nonsense has happened, knowing at least who I'm traveling with or what they want, might be a little beneficial to the rest of us to try to maybe prevent, same trouble happening again. Shall say?
Well,
I'm not going to belittle or judge you or anything. Believe me, I hear that enough from Father. But I would say that having some idea would be better than none whatsoever. Really, I haven't questioned it because, in all honesty, I didn't expect to be up here. But here we are now.
I'm not going to tell you the details. A lot of the details I don't even know. But I was involved in some organized crime back in that city, and I managed to get away from it. And I probably shouldn't have gone back, but it's already done and gone.
Makes you feel any better. I mean, he did get eaten by a Remoraz.
Yeah, I wish I'd seen it.
It was not pretty.
No, I don't imagine it was.
But, what...
I'd have known that thing was out here last time I was here. I would have used it a bit more. To be honest with you.
But what really struck me the most in what he said was kind of more of a guardian angel. I mean, I know this place is called the Abbey of Angels, by what Galileo has said, and believing it's true.
It is!
Nobody asked you.
You are questioning my intelligence and knowledge of the area. Don't.
All I said was, I don't know if that's true or not, Galileo. You're not part of this conversation.
If I say it, you know it is true.
Don't
Who's
say
Abby?
I'll give you to someone else.
No response.
Anyways. guardian angel of sorts?
I
Maybe.
don't know. My best guess is someone wants to kill me personally, or he's so hell-bent on taking me in that he thinks there's some supernatural force defending me, which there isn't. I can tell you that for damn sure. And no one looking out for me. Not anymore.
Not anymore?
Only one other person who cared about me in my life. That's the person who raised me.
Mother, father, surrogate mother, father, adopted.
Listen, I shouldn't have. I said too much. We need to keep going.
Well, I just figured walking and talking was the best option, you know? Because, you know, like I said, having an idea of what everybody in this group wants is the best course of action.
Sorry, I hate playing as other people's characters, but I know exactly what Aaron is here. I also have a surrogate mom. It's a snake. My mom's a snake.
From your legs.
That's
One
nice.
time you showed me.
What'd you say, Lucas?
Okay.
I said I could tell from the one time you showed me.
Yeah, she's great.
Lovely snake. I don't know what's the. What do you call that? Lovely mother, lovely woman.
It's a woman, ain't she?
Don't be rude about it.
Wait, are we talking about the snake?
Yes, we're talking about mother.
Sorry, I spaced out for 1 second there. Sorry,
The
out of
snake.
character. I spaced out for 1 second, so I was so confused.
Kit said that they have a surrogate mother and she's a snake, and Lucas was like, what do you call that? Like a good woman? A good mother? Like, you know, nice lady? Like, what do I call that?
That's fucked up.
In-law? No, auntie?
Is that Galileo saying up top?
What?
I for some reason when you started saying that's up dog, I thought you were saying it as Galileo.
I didn't say that's up dog, and I did not say it as Galileo. No.
That would have
What
been
did
really
you
funny,
say
though.
then?
If there's anything else you guys want to talk about during your trip, because you managed to get ahead of whatever is causing this story. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before?
I do tell them about that augury spell that I did, and how it basically there wasn't a good or bad reaction to it. It was mostly just neutral, but it was basically saying the best to stay ahead of it.
I
It wasn't
mean,
really super clear,
you
but
didn't have to use algae to figure that one out.
I just decided to try to get a little more insight on the matter. And I'd rather not die. At least not before I get to do what I need to do.
We can always listen to our gut for that as we keep ahead. Whatever that thing is, I think the last thing we want to do is run into it.
I agree completely.
Well, you guys continue on a couple more days. In all, you traveled 5 more days at the beginning of the session. So go ahead and take that out of the rations.
How many rations is that, though?
That's 3 a day. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you. 15 a day. So what? It's 15 times 5, 25, 2, 5, 1, 7,
75.
75.
75.
Leaves us at 48.
Okay. On your last day, as you guys are kind of getting to a warmer area, the smoke still behind you fall away day after day. Kind of as this heavy, stressful presence on the back of your mind. You guys are finally approaching, and you're finally kind of clearing the snowy wilderness, and you're coming into the more green area. The grass is coming alive, the trees around you are becoming a little less oppressively tall and a little less covered in snow. And slowly you're coming around the
Look at
mountain.
the greenery again. It's nice to look at the greenery again.
Yes, so much so.
But as you guys are traveling, you're slowly turning around basically the corner of this mountain, one of the heart spires. And you kind of turn expecting to see Spireheld in the distance, kind of nestled in between the mountains, as some of you already know. Yui, you were especially familiar with this place, having lived here for a lot of the time. However, not everything is great. It's not necessarily bad either, but something is definitely happening in Spireheld. Above it, high in the sky, you can see these enormous, dark, swirling thunderclouds moving and dancing above the city and the outer city as well. These enormous swirling shapes and clouds flickering about, flashes of lightning streaking through the sky. No rain, however. No heavy winds, nothing like that. Nothing that would indicate a normal storm. Even the pressure around you isn't indicative of a rainstorm or a thunderstorm. But above you, high in the sky, you can see swirling dark clouds. And as you look a little closer, they almost seem to be swirling above one specific point outside of the city of Spireheld. Almost like a tiny tornado is trying to fall, failing.
Something's wrong.
Oh shit.
Yeah, looks like it.
Would it be anything magical?
It's just over the city? It's not like a storm moving in any direction?
No. It is like perfectly centered. None of the clouds are moving outside. They are all swirling in this giant spiral of storm clouds. That spiral is centered and focused especially on one point.
Can I roll an Arcana check? See if it's ridiculously, obviously, but still something magical.
Sure.
A 19 plus 6, yet again.
This is pretty fucking magic, yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying like any specific spell, asshole.
Control weather maybe, but that's a huge. That is a very, very high level spell, and it's unlikely that there isn't. In recent times, there haven't been any records of wizards or mages powerful enough to cast. I think control weather is like what level? Hold on, let me check actually real quick. I'm pretty sure it's like an 8th or 9th level spell.
I'm pretty sure it's 7th. Because Storm Spear is
Control
like
weather is 8th level spell. And in recent recorded history, there have been no wizards or mages or anything powerful enough to cast an 8th level spell. That is super fucking high up. So if it is that, there's someone ridiculously powerful in the city currently.
I just relayed all that information.
And even control weather isn't quite as precise as what you're seeing. Control weather can create thunderstorms or rainstorms or move clouds and stuff, but this is like this enormous swirling.
Can sorcerers run that spell?
Maybe.
Because you can control.
Yeah, sorcerers, specifically divine soul sorcerers can, and no other sorcerers can.
Yeah, but I figured with metamagic you could.
Divine soul sorcerers can.
No time like the present. If we're gonna go all die in a thunderstorm, I'd rather that than whatever's behind us.
Well, either way, we have to still get into the city, so let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas is very hesitant. But
you guys travel for about another day-ish from the mountain to where you need to go. And if you look at the recent map I've sent in the world map chat.
Yeah, the one you sent us.
Okay. You guys. So look at the very bottom left of that map, right next to the river. You'll see this little like, wooden fort encampment with a little camp out there.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a guard barracks. It's where new guards and militiamen and all sorts go and train to work as guards for Spireheld. This area out here is the outer city of Spireheld. Spireheld technically is two separate cities connected. It is the outer city and the inner city. The inner city is a much more developed area, I guess you could say. There's a lot more interesting machines, a lot more interesting magics there, and it's nestled very safely in the walls and the crevice of the mountains. The outer city is a lot simpler. You'll find a lot more markets, stalls, kind of what's it called? Like physical workers, lots of homes here as well, lots of normal people. So the outer city is probably where you lived, doing more so.
Yeah.
Well, you've probably been in the inner city.
Yeah, with you describing it, I'd say that she's lived in the outer city, but she's probably climbed into the inner city a few times.
Yeah. It isn't necessarily exclusive, I guess you could say. There are some, you need to, show documentation, you need to prove you're a part of Spireheld to go in there. But in general, it's not super exclusive. However, typically the people who live outside the city aren't going to be going in very much. Partly because they don't want to, partly because it's kind of like a social taboo or social kind of thing to go in between super frequently, especially if you're from the lower to go in the upper.
From Balix's letter, would I know if he's in the outer city or the inner city? Just
you would have no idea.
Upon Balix's personality.
Based on Balix, either he's smart enough to know that Lucas would have trouble getting into the inner city, or he would be dumb enough to not know Lucas would be able to get into the inner city. As it stands, though, you guys are approaching. The reason I described the bottom left is because that's where you're kind of approaching from. So you guys came from the mountains up in the top left, and you've been following the river down.
Gone around.
You could cross the river, but it's quite strong, and it's quite deep, and it's quite wide. Probably wouldn't have a great time with it. I mean, Aaron would be fine, but the rest of you would be having a considerably more difficult. But as you approach, you kind of go around the back side of this large wooden fort. Typically, there are a lot of guards and militiamen and trainees around here gathered, and it seems that there are, but they all seem very distracted. So you can see a couple guards up in the posts, towers, right? But they're all looking at this huge swirling cloud formation. It's currently blotting out the sun. The entire of the outer Spireheld, the outer Spireheld and the inner Spireheld are covered in this great dark shadow cast by these swirling clouds, and everyone seems mesmerized by it. Heading out and around. What's up?
Does this feel like a Balix moment to me?
Balix.
Does this feel like some Balix shenanigans going on right now?
Causes trouble, and Balix isn't very good at hiding that trouble.
This level of trouble, though.
This is a pretty high octane level of trouble. If Balix is caused, it's. Okay, so you're all approaching. Are you talking about anything as you're approaching?
No, I'm mostly just kind of in my head going, is this some Balix shenanigans?
Lucas is just going,
Lucas has definitely been doing this for a while.
It seems to you guys, as far as you can tell, this enormous swirling storm, the focal point where the swirling becomes smaller, almost like a tornado trying to form, like I said, seems to be right above the center of the outer Spireheld city. If you look at the map, there's this little market plaza. No, not that little walled-in area right outside of it. There's this little market plaza.
The big red building?
Yeah, the big red building surrounded by stalls and stuff. It seems to be right over that. What are you guys doing there? What's the plan?
I mean, we have no choice but to go in, really.
Yeah, we're going to go into the city.
Okay. You all head in. You know your way around this place at the back of your head. You have been around every corner, in every alleyway, behind every house. Where on the map would you say your kind of previous, I guess you could say, base of operations would have been? Where would you have worked or lived out of? Maybe you don't do it anymore, but where was it?
I would probably say... Oh, wow, this is tricky. But I'd say probably where the stalls are, just to the north of where that building is. Where those set of 4 blue buildings are.
There's a lot of buildings.
I know. That's why I'm going to screen share to give an idea.
Yeah, okay. That's a good idea.
Can you see my... Probably around, this would be where I would normally do business.
Okay. That makes sense. Sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good then.
Just wondering. Justin's just wondering.
Yeah.
Alright.
As it stands, though, what, Maya?
Gonna tease and go, why, Justin?
I want to say, why is it interesting, Justin?
As it stands, though, the swirling storm, I have to scream scared, is about right here, right in the center of the city.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, there's this little gated area here, this wooden area, which is for like higher officials, and this gate right here connects more towards the main inner city. You could always go around, but it's a little more of a hassle. Really. There are small checkpoints you'll see around here and stuff. They're just Spireheld has some policies based on certain things. I'm not going to get into it. It's a whole politics thing. But as it stands at the moment, these little stalls are a little distracted with the enormous swirling clouds. And the only one you really have to go through here is this one. Yui, you know, however, there's a very famous couple of inns. This one here, Yui, is a famous one, you know, right outside of town. It's where a lot of travelers, a lot of visitors kind of stay. This huge orange building in the middle is an enormous, expensive, fantastic inn. It's a little expensive, but lots of famous performers will go here. Lots of famous people will go here. It's kind of like the heart of the city, if that makes sense. Those are just two major inns I wanted to point out.
What about that building up in the top left?
That is not an inn. It looks like this one.
Top
Sorry.
right, then?
Lack of assets. Top right? That is also not an inn.
Just wondering.
It's an expensive house. But you guys are heading in this way?
Yeah.
What's your path here? Where are you going? I mean, if you can look at the map, you can tell the main way to get into the city is through these two gates here, since the other way just goes in a circle. You could go through the buildings, but get a little in trouble. Everyone's a little distracted. So what's the plan? What are you guys doing?
Center is my plan.
Yeah. Oh.
Y'all want to get struck by like how much metal this guy's gonna. Pointing at Bader.
I mean, there's no other place to go if we want to figure out what's going on.
This is Balix's elaborate way of telling you where he is. It's like, I'll summon the fucking wrath of the heavens.
Laugh.
But are you
I'm
guys...
going towards the center, so...
Yeah, but while you guys are walking, do you want to talk about what's currently going on? Do you want to look around the city? Describe what you're doing.
Lucas is very quiet, and he's very apprehensive. But otherwise, he's just being quiet and he's thinking about the storm itself and like what it could be and what that possibly is. Free to interrupt him though.
Yeah, the last time I was expecting myself to return home, I was thinking that I'd be able to live somewhere a bit more hospitable.
Oh, you live here?
I was born down here.
Wouldn't have known.
Really?
Figured you were probably from somewhere a little bit like, you know, where is it? You definitely feel like a Larizidum kind of person. Like, not that that means anything, it's just typically, like, you know, the way you're dressed and everything, it's just quite nicer.
Well, I'll consider that a compliment then, but no. Born and raised on the streets of this place. Never a dull moment every day, I'll say that.
You sound a little upset at that one. Well, I've never been here. Long story short, lived my whole life on Ethereum, if you want the honest truth, so... Nice to be out to actually see something.
Indeed. Perhaps I should...
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Perhaps I should pay a friend a visit, if we have the time.
I don't see why not. Don't you have somebody to find here?
All right. Old Jism.
Wait, is that his name? You mentioned somebody, but you never mentioned it. Is that the name?
I believe it is. Was it just Jism?
Oh my goodness. Why?
You might know something about this head we found in the forest.
So, Yui, you would probably know about Jism. Can you roll me a history check or a history?
Gotta roll the Jism check.
Yes, let's see if I know about this this man who.
You can roll it with advantage because you live in the city.
Okay, that means that I can roll twice and take the highest one.
What the fuck did Sean say when I walked past his room?
Jism.
What? Nothing. Don't worry about it, Why? Don't worry about it.
Like you said check for Jism?
We need to check for Jism regarding a head we found in a bush.
Got a head in a bush?
Yeah,
robot head.
Jism is very experienced with head.
Stop. A robot head? Like a person?
The one I've had since like the beginning of the campaign.
Oh, I thought you found it in a bush. I thought you found a new one.
Okay,
no.
Highest roll was a 19 plus 3. You said history, right?
Yes.
Okay, 22.
Okay. So, Jism, Yui, is actually a very important person. Like a very important person.
Yes,
Spireheld is headed by a council of sorts. The entire city is overrun by a sort of voted-in democratic council. Currently, the leaders of that council, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different people. There are 4 men, 2 women. And Jism is the gnome in that group. He is also the head of the Scholar and Research Guild, so he's a very learned man. He's known to be very, very, very intelligent, a little bit eccentric, but if you ever need a researcher, a scholar, anything like that, he's kind of the person to go to know fucking anything, or his guild in general. He is the head, he runs everything, he oversees all operations, he even fucking does the economics of it and everything. However, he is known as a bit of an inizer, both a womanizer, a manonizer, a plantinizer, anything-anizer.
Is it possible I may or may not have scammed him in the past at one point?
Roll me this. Actually, I got a little coin here. Someone's giving me. I got a little coin. Ooh, look at that.
Oh yeah, because I gave Justin his coin.
Ooh.
Got a little coin here. Ooh,
Justin, show it off.
Got a little coin. Thank you for my coin. Got a little rose.
It might be a little difficult to see.
It's real nice.
I want to get Maya theirs, and I'm gonna send Cole theirs eventually. But I have some more things I want to add in Cole's package before it goes.
Oh, you're gonna need my address then, Sammy.
Yeah, we can talk about it later.
Okay.
But I'm gonna use this. Okay, we get on the rose. You scammed him, or you interacted with Sir Jism. On a 1, you have not.
Okay.
I plan it is a rose.
Why did Jism come up in conversation?
It is a rose. You have met him before.
Ooh.
So before you talk to him, go ahead and think in your head how you've interacted with this man. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He is a little eccentric researcher, scholar. No, he's very smart, a little weird, and
Think Lucas, but way smarter.
he will try and romance anything that moves or anything that doesn't.
So a little less like.
Is that how we got his name?
Jism.
His parents were fortune tellers. What? You don't like Jism the gnome?
Why did Justin? If
Wait,
I
what
named
is
an
he? Is he a
NPC in my game, and his name was Cum.
His name isn't Cum.
His name is Jism. It's the same fucking thing.
It's not. It's not.
Jism means fucking male ejaculate. That's what it means. No. Yes, it does.
Him anyways. He gnomes.
Oh, yes.
What is he?
Okay, I think I might have something.
Okay.
Jism. Oh, that fucking gnome.
Huh?
What did he do?
I've crossed paths with Jism before. I was doing some research, some business, and we happened to be talking this, and we happened to have been in the same room together discussing his. I rate exactly what you said that he was a specialist in, and let's just say that the topic got a little bit. He doesn't know how to keep his hands to himself.
Stop this conversation because I really don't want to hear the rest of it.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh God.
I would just.
That's what he is.
That ain't his real name, is it?
It's not. Jism is not his real name.
Yeah, but
he calls himself that.
Let's just say that it is a name that he has procured because he certainly lives by that reputation.
Oh, great.
Bator,
so, like, other people know about it.
He does not want to hear the rest of this conversation.
Bator, I would advise if you go to meet him to make sure that you bring a companion with you. Just to be on the safe side.
He doesn't do anything he doesn't look fucking using fucking like that extreme. He's a womanizer, mananizer. He will flirt all day long. He will he's not gonna do anything like
Okay.
He's the head of a guild. He'd be fucking like excommunicated.
You sure about that, considering what you had been dealing with the past 4 years?
Fair enough.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'll try to back
nothing he does is physical unless
No, this is really funny. Keep it up.
Flirting works.
Did you advance this relationship?
Oh God, no. Jism is very good with his words, but I can quite honestly say that I'm better at it, usually.
Damn.
I don't imagine it's hard to be better than the man whose name is Cum.
Jism is actually the known word for brave, so you're being really xenophobic right now.
Oh.
It's the known word for what?
Brave.
Continue!
He's brave at who he...
Santiago's back. So as you guys are walking through the streets, there are loads
Lucas is
and loads.
very much farther ahead because he was done with this conversation.
There are loads and loads of different citizens, all kind of like pouring out of their houses, pointing up in the sky, whispering to each other. The atmosphere of Spireheld is very much in a state of confusion and stress. Like right before a pot boils, the steam's coming off. The bubbles aren't coming quite yet, but it's right there. Something's about to happen. No one knows what it is. There's this huge atmosphere of anxiety or anticipation, I guess is the word. Do you want to talk to anyone, or are you just going to make your way to the center of town?
Lucas is going towards the center, so...
I try to listen in on various conversations, trying to figure out like how long this has been happening, what people are thinking about it.
I'm just going to go right up and ask.
Oh, I completely forgot to mention as well. Right before this happens, all of you did notice a little while ago. You've entered the town now. The pillar of smoke that you guys saw before, you've left it behind. You're pretty sure it was still following you out of the Azerfeltian Forest, but you got really distracted with the clouds, and by the time you just remembered and you're looking back, you don't see it. So you're going up straight up and asking Santiago, you're listening around. Maya, can you roll me a perception check? Yui, who do you go up to? What do you say?
Just a regular fella on the... Actually, wait, we're still near the guard tower, so maybe I'll just ask one of the guards.
Oh no, you're in the city now. You're a little
in the city.
You're around. You're a little bit past the first inn that I mentioned.
All right, a little bit past the first inn. Probably just ask someone who's probably watching the sky that's nearby the inn.
Okay. You pick out some random fellow. He's like a middle-aged man. He's balding a little bit, and he's got like some like pretty drab but comfortable clothes, you'd assume. Itchy, but loose and off. You want to go up to him. What do you say?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, hello?
Forgive me for intruding.
Oh, it is perfectly fine.
Myself and my friends have just happened to come into the city, and we couldn't help but notice it's a little bit cloudy here.
Yeah, you don't say. You're a funny one, I must say. But yeah, a bit cloudy lately, isn't it? Yeah, real overcast. It's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. I used to live around these parts. I've never seen it so dreary around this time of season. When did this happen?
Well, no one's really sure, to be certain. Some guards claim that it started a couple hours ago only. But yeah, well, a few more than that. I say a couple hours. Most people only come out of their houses a couple hours ago. I only just now noticed it happening. But some guards say that it started kind of like, ooh. As in, like, it expanded. Yeah, sorry.
I see.
Yeah.
So this is recent then, very recent.
Yeah, pretty recent, I'd say, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, sir. Is there anyone
problem.
in that general vicinity that you, perhaps a newcomer?
What do you mean?
Have you seen anyone strange come in lately? Besides me, of course.
They would point to Santiago. Yes!
Oh,
They
fucking... Have I ever seen anyone strange coming in recently? Are you joking around here? You say you used to live this place. That damn Genasi coming in here, fucking messing around with our government, fucking all these travelers coming in and out of Spireheld, that old tensions between Azerfeld and the Mistran. You ask me if anyone's strange. Only strange people have been coming in here recently.
Okay. My apologies for the
Dumb question.
obvious, sir.
It's fine. It's just, I apologize for my behavior. Just a little a little stressed,
I understand. I imagine things have been very difficult. Thank you for your time.
No problem. And he kind of like keeps looking out of the sky, and he like kind of like nudges someone next to him, and they're like talking a little bit. Santiago, what did you roll?
25.
Jesus Christ! You're so perceptive. What is your wisdom score?
It's not that. It's fine. But I managed to roll a 19.
Oh my God, Maya! We're so proud of you.
Yeah.
This is so unlike usual.
I know.
So you're listening around a little bit, Santiago. You're keeping an ear out for everything. Excuse me. One thing you notice is that all of the reports, people kind of whispering, mumbling to each other, everyone seems to be talking about like a different time it started. Some people say it started a couple hours ago. Some people are saying it started a whole day in advance. Some people are saying that it only just now started. There's a really kind of loose... No one's really sure who's right here. And you also notice that throughout the town, it's all town criers that are like going like, oh, this started because we've offended the gods. And someone's like saying, this has been a long time coming. And 10 minutes ago, the clouds broke or something like that. And then someone else is saying, like, we should band together. And this, a whole day ago, this started. So
I'm saying
there's
it's
just like,
them damn Genasi, they're not sending their best.
They're putting chemicals in the air.
Everyone seems to be really confused. You don't think it's anything supernatural. You think it's just like a general, everyone's telling each other different information and no one's really able to get a straight answer. So you've got a bunch of people here listening to one person and like other people. Yeah, it's just a real mess.
It's like 9 a.m., right?
It's early, yeah. It's like 10.
Okay.
You don't hear anything else Oh, you do hear, listening out as well, that apparently the main council have gathered in the town square where this thing is above. And apparently they're talking through it, but there hasn't really been much more information besides that.
Okay.
Anything else you guys are going to do as you're traveling? You're almost there.
I mean, I was going towards the town center.
Yes.
constant pace. Like I was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not going
Lucas
to
is a
stand
little
behind-
ahead, but Vader's with him as well. I imagine he could catch up to you as well. Yui and Mai, you're a little bit behind, pretty near each other, while Lucas and Vader and Kit Kat are a little ahead. That being said, Lucas and Vader, you two come into the town square first. You pass through the two checkpoints. None of the guards really care. They're all very distracted. Everyone in the streets very distracted. And you come into the main kind of market town square. There's loads of different stalls here. You can smell food, the scent of food drifting through the air. You can see loads of stalls with apples, other fruits. Loads of stalls with armor and weapons. Just pretty much everything you could ask for. Lots of stalls with crops, seeds, wheat, corn, all sorts of stuff around here. Normally, it'd be a great place to go if you needed something, either as an adventurer or just someone who's living here. Currently, though, it's not really. There is basically a line of guards, of Spireheld guards, keeping out, I guess you could say, the common folk from kind of entering the main square area. And because of this, there are only 6 people in the main square. People are gathered around the edge of the stalls where the buildings are, so there's this huge crowd of people. Most of the city or the outer cities kind of gather around here, causing these huge, confused crowds. Everyone's asking questions and yelling at what's going on and trying to get some kind of answer from the main council, who you assume are actually in the main square, if that makes sense. You can't really see them currently because there's this huge crowd in front of you, but if you push your way to the front, you'll probably be able to.
Can I push my way through the front because these guards are not going to stop me with a spell called Misty Step? So
They're gonna
push through the crowd and
stop you once you teleport.
Are you gonna try and teleport past the guards?
no, I'm gonna see what's going on first. I'm gonna see what's up. What's up, Doc? Like.
Okay. So you start pushing way through the crowd. You can roll me a strength check. Athletics, I guess? Sure, athletics check. Bader, what are you doing? Because you're right next to Lucas.
I'm gonna follow them.
You're going through as well?
Yep.
You can also roll me a strength check with athletics.
Athletics.
You being
15.
Santiago. Oh, 15? Oh, you managed to push your way through. People aren't, pushing you back too hard. There are a couple people who you kind of piss off, a couple people who get a little annoyed by it. But you managed to kind of make your way through without too much difficulty. While Sean is rolling, Maya and Yui, what are you two doing? You're following right behind. You're a little bit further behind, and you kind of see this as Lucas is pushing his way into the crowd and Vader's behind him. What are you
19.
doing? Oh, damn, Vader, you're fucking charging on ahead.
You're like,
You're walking right by everyone.
bitch.
Yeah, everyone's kind of making room for you. Everyone's kind of making paths. You're making your way pretty decently fast through. You kind of help Lucas as well, too. You kind of work together. Santiago and Yui, what are you two doing?
Can I see over everyone's heads what's going on in that?
You are really tall, yes.
Yeah.
They're a little hard to see, especially the stalls in the way. But you do see what seem to be 6 different people past kind of the main crowd, past this line of guards. You can also see Lucas and Vader kind of pushing their way through as well. And you see 6 different people. I can describe them in more detail if you want me to. But you can see a human, a dwarf, a half-elf, you think, a gnome, a halfling as well, and a white dragonborn. And they all seem to be talking. They're all kind of not huddled together, but they're all quite close. They all seem to be talking quite, not angrily, but quite anxiously together. They're all kind of one of them grabs the other by the shoulder and pointing in the sky. And you can't hear them. You can obviously see they're shouting something. And they just seem to be in this kind of general sense of discontent.
Do they look?
The gnome that you can see has climbed on top of one of the stalls, and he's got this huge pair of binoculars that he's looking up into the sky with. These are scampered up a bit.
How do they dressed? Do they look like adventurers, or do they look like politicians?
They're very varied. The human, I'll describe it in detail as much as you ask, basically.
Yeah.
The human is very old. You can tell that immediately. He's got very gray hair. Looks very wrinkled, very not chiseled. He obviously had a active youth, but you can tell just by looking at him that his old age has caught up more than a little bit, and he hasn't done anything in his old age. His body, you can tell, it's fallen apart basically. He's also wearing what looks to be very, very old-fashioned armor that looks like it hasn't seen any use in a very long time. The dwarf is wearing like a really, really simple blacksmith gown. It's covered in dirt, covered in grease. He's wearing like some kind of like really simple craftsman's clothes. He looks like just a normal fucking dude. But he's got a very, very bright, fiery ginger hair that accompanies his bright, fiery ginger beard, as if there's like a whole fire on his face. It's very bright, very noticeable. But he pulls it off, you know. He's wearing very common people clothes. The half-elf is wearing a very interesting costume. I say costume. He's got a very heavy top, as in like he's got very like padded shoulders. And a very formal, very strict looking top half, but his bottom is like this really long flowing like strips of rope. Not a robe itself, but like strips of rope, if that makes sense. He looks a little top heavy. Which is kind of
a magic user?
A funny look in a little way. But the most notable thing about him is that he has jet black hair that kind of swirls around his head in this strange, almost like wave-like pattern. And at the very end of his jet black hair are these little, like, snowy frosted bits. The gnome is covered in papers and books and, like, little tiny machines. And because he's so fucking tiny, those books are fucking gigantic on him. So he's got like a cape basically made of books, and it is definitely a look. The halfling woman, she reminds you a lot of the dwarf who she's kind of next to talking to. You can tell that they obviously know each other. They're a little more familiar than the rest of them. She's also wearing very worker clothes. She's wearing very basic stuff. She has like she's got like a hammer on her like side, and she's in the middle of working on something. She was suddenly pulled out here. She looks wildly annoyed and wildly like just irritated. She wants to get back to what she was doing. And finally, the White Dragon Lord, who's arguably the most striking out of all of these people, is wearing this beautiful, shining, worn but taken care of plate armor. She is decked out in like armor and jewelry and like a mixture of the two. Like she's going for both beauty and defense, because she looks like you could take her to the ball or take her into a war. But she has this very stern, serious look on her face, and she seems to be talking to the gnome who's looking at the binoculars. That was a very long description. Sorry.
Okay.
Santiago's looking. What is Yui doing?
I'm going to try and sneak over and see if I can get a closer look at what they're talking about.
Yeah, I was thinking about using Misty Step, but I'm like, that's very obvious.
I think we know who these people are.
Lucas, you're pushing through the crowd. Santiago is trying to look over the crowd to see them. Vader's also pushing through the crowd. Yui, what are you doing?
I said I want to sneak over there and see if I can get a closer look and hear what they're talking about.
See, so currently there is basically 2 walls between you and them. 3 walls, technically. There is the wall, there's this huge crowd of people, then a line of guards, then a line of stalls. It'd be kind of hard to get super close to them. You could potentially make your way on top of the rooftops, on top of the stalls, but it's a little hard to hide there. As you're thinking about this, you suddenly feel a hand on your shoulder, and someone pulls you back from what you're doing. And you can see a blonde man with these dark circles under his eyes, and this very, very wide smile from like ear to ear. Go. Shh. And he looks back at the crowd. Lucas and Bader, what are you two doing? You've basically managed to push your way to the front.
I'm kind of like walking around the front to kind of see where the best vantage angle is.
Unfortunately, you can't really get a good look. Kind of making your way through the crowd, the 2 of you working together, you basically see the same scene I described for Maya.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the best vantage angle is in like if I were to Misty Step in the least noticeable spot.
Right. Okay. So Misty Step isn't a very stealthy thing. It doesn't make a lot of noise, but you basically explode in a poof of mist.
Yeah,
and
you're briefly surrounded by silvery mist.
Yeah. It's not crazy stealthy. You could definitely try, but there's basically a line of guards
point to perform
directly
the
in front of you.
and maybe hide behind a stall. It's
Yeah,
up
what
to
I'm
30
saying-
feet, so...
What I'm saying is that there's a line of guards basically directly in front of you.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to, like, find the best point where I don't think they'll see me, and a good point that they will see me to cast the spell, and to possibly find a stall to hide behind that I can teleport in front of.
Okay, sure. They aren't like a continuous line. There's like 3 or 4 in groups keeping people from going past. You could maybe find an area you think could work. Roll me a really hard perception check just to notice somewhere.
Oh. You...
Bader, what are you doing while Lucas is trying to sneak into this area?
21.
I was actually planning on trying to help hide the fact that they're going to teleport.
Yeah, you can help with this. You can help with this stealth check.
I'm literally like halfway in movement. I'm like,
okay, 21.
Nods back.
You find a place that you think if you teleport right there, you might be able to get behind like the like kind of blanket of like a stall. Bader, you're gonna try and help with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like literally halfway through movement, like Lucas hears Bader go, "Are you gonna teleport?" And Lucas is literally just with a big smile on his face, just going.
Okay, Bader, how are you gonna help with this?
I'm gonna try and just cover, just like stand in between Lucas and the guard's line of sight.
Lucas is also gonna bend down to do this to match Bader's height.
You're gonna like cover Lucas in your jacket or something. Okay, sure. Lucas, roll me a stealth check.
Ooh, good that I'm good at that.
With advantage, because Bader's helping.
Yes, sir.
I just like to think that you just shuffled in front of the guard who's most likely to see
Unnatural
Lucas,
20, because I rolled both 17s on both
Just
dice.
staring directly into
just staring directly in his face, like.
Unnatural 20, I rolled a 17 on both dice.
Okay, Bader, you cover him up as much as you can, keeping like from the guards, like in front of him. Lucas, you're just able to like barely get past, like look past his like shoulder or his coat to like see what you can, and with a wave of the hand, mutter of the words, disappear in a silvery mist, reappearing pretty much exactly where you wanted to be, immediately ducking down behind the stone in order to not catch anyone's attention. As far as you can tell, no one saw you. As far as you can tell.
Can I double check that?
You are now much closer. There is still like another stall in the way, but you are basically right next to the 6 council members, and you can pretty much hear them. Santiago and you, what do you do? Santiago, you're seeing this. You've just noticed that
This guy.
someone. Yeah.
Who's this guy?
Looking closer, he looks at you as well. This is Balix.
Oh no. This guy. Oh no.
Missing the one person he's trying to find who's off doing their own little thing.
Oh, what are you two doing? He like glances at you, Santiago, but he's like super intensely focused on what's happening in front of
How
him.
similar do Balix and I look, other than being blonde?
Balix
for an eyeball.
Balix, yes, he does. Balix looks like if Lucas was really old and had a really hard life.
And did coke.
Yeah. He's got like slightly sunken in cheeks that's accentuated by admittedly strong cheekbones, but de-accentuated by his sunken cheeks. He's got these terrifyingly dark circles under his eyes. Like, to the point where you're like, do you need to go to the hospital? Are you okay, man? His hair is this scraggly mess that looks clean enough somehow, but also looks like he hasn't showered in a week. Like, it's not greasy or oily, and it's not dirty, but it looks like he has taken a bomb to it.
Lucas, but
his whole body
care of himself.
is this lanky, kind of awkward. He holds himself weirdly as he moves. Like, you've seen this before, Santiago. that when he walks, he looks like he's a puppet controlled by someone else. It's really disconcerting. But he's this weird, lanky man, and you've never seen him before in your life, Huey. This guy is fucking terrifying. He's fucking weird as shit.
The reason I asked is because I can put two and two together and assume that this is...
That's true. But despite his very off-putting appearance, his clothes, on the other hand, are incredibly nice. You feel it, Huey. You feel like his like the top part of his he's got like a bit of like a shawl on. It's like this green velvety shawl that it brushes you, and you're like, it feels fucking like this dude must be so comfy. Like you look down at his shoes and look like the nicest fucking leather ever. Like this dude must be so fucking comfy.
But he put his hand on my goddamn shoulder.
Yeah, which is weird because it's bony and horrible.
Hello.
Shh. We get to watch the show. He's just like looking.
I'm just gonna... Can you just take your hand off my shoulder, please? Thank you.
Santiago, you are right here as well, by the way.
Is there is your handiwork there, Mr. Balix?
You know this
You
guy?
attribute unto me the work of a god. No. I didn't do any of this, but luckily for us, we get to watch the light show. It's a rare occurrence, you know. I've seen it before, but you haven't. And you would love to see it. Trust me, I know. And he taps the jewel in his eye.
Well, it looks like
wait, you know this guy?
neighbors.
Santiago?
This is Lucas's uncle. He hired me to do various things. Anyway.
Oh.
Why?
You two did fantastically, by the way. He suddenly gets like really distracted, and he like kind of turns from what he was looking at. His like arms kind of moving in like this really horrible manner. He's like, "You two did fantastically. Honestly, great. I think that you two deserve more than just a monetary reward, don't you think? Maybe you work with me again, I can get you something a little more personalized. But right now, like I said, a light show time."
It looks like there's a fucking twister about to start here.
Something like that.
Is this safe?
No.
No, your nephew's in the... He went off somewhere to the crowd. I don't know where he went.
Yeah, don't worry about him. He'll get into some very exciting moments very shortly.
Alright. I'm just gonna be ready to bolt in the other direction.
Okay. Lucas.
Next.
Well, hold on. Before we get back to
Little
Lucas.
thing.
Before we get back to Lucas, what are you two doing? How are you responding to the situation?
I feel like Yui is distraught. What the fuck?
I am very confused.
Yeah, you learn, you get used to it eventually, but like not really. I'm mortified. Whatever this man thinks is going to be a good time.
See, it's a really rare occurrence. A whole bunch of things come together as one. See, this doesn't happen very often. They don't come down from their pristine little seats. So we get to see one getting their feet muddy with the rest of us. Isn't that exciting?
Wait, you mean the council?
Not exactly.
You said the gods? This is something
He's got a
divine?
big smile on his face.
Oh, fuck, he's a joker.
They think it is. He's not a joker. They think it is.
Then what is it?
Shh.
Okay.
I'm trying to listen in,
Okay.
just to let you know, Justin.
Yeah. Roll me perception. Bader, what are you doing? Have you looked back to see where Santiago and Yui are?
Yeah.
You
So
said
I
that-
help Lucas sneak into this main area. 1 second, Yui, sorry.
22?
Glance back, Bader, and you see Santiago and Yui talking to this weird gross, bony puppet man.
What is that?
Can I see Lucas in my from my general area?
What's
I am
your...
behind Saul, who's just Misty
Yeah,
Step magically.
he rolled a really good stealth. I don't think you can.
Okay, never mind.
In fact, actually, explicitly, you don't see Lucas, which is arguably very suspicious and concerning, because you look through the crowd and you see Bader. You don't see Lucas.
Okay. Because I was thinking of casting a message to him, but I don't think I can work.
Yeah, you can't see me, which requires for you to point in my direction.
Yeah.
What did you get?
22.
22?
18 plus 4.
You can hear most of what they're saying. There are a couple words that get lost in kind of the din of the crowd behind you, but you are able to get most of what they're saying. Currently, you're closest to Jism, who's on top of the stall, basically right in front of you, and the White Dragonborn, who is currently talking to him. And you can hear this really confident, really, I'd say strong voice kind of erupt from her chest as she kind of grumbles at the gnome. And she's basically like she's basically asking him what he sees. What do you see with your gnome eyes? Sorry, I had to do that.
Rack-on!
It's not Rack-on. But she asks, like, what do you see? And Jism is like giving her this really detailed report, like a little too detailed. He's like telling her what types of clouds they are and like their current movement patterns compared to like normal seasonal weather patterns of this area. Well, in the middle of all this, of like this really complicated weather jargon, he's occasionally throwing in like a really quick like compliment or like a flirt, just like really snickily hit in there.
He's calling it a cumulus cloud. Instead of a cumulus cloud.
He's like, I'm seeing plenty of lightning, kind of like the lightning between us.
Coming from the cumulus cloud.
Eyes. He's just kind of thinking, and Lucas is kind of thinking, he said, say something actually of interest.
He's talking a lot about the clouds. But he's like, if I'm right, I think we'll be seeing them in about, I have no idea. And she's like, get your act together. We need to figure out exactly what's happening, otherwise the rest of us are all going to be lost fighting each other rather than what we should be fighting.
The cumulus cloud.
What are you doing, Lucas?
Gingerly trying to, like, stealth around and hear what the others are saying.
Roll me a stealth check.
That is a 15. That's an 18.
18. You sneak around, kind of like keeping low to the ground, but suddenly, well, actually, hold on. I need to check something. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay. You're sneaking around low to the ground, and suddenly you feel something grab the cuff of your collar and pull you back sharply, basically dragging you to your feet in an instant. And you hear, what do we have here?
Somebody mostly just interested to figure out what's going on, if you want an honest answer.
You look to your left and you see the half-elf man with the jet black hair and the white tips that kind of like goes around in waves, looking at you very bemusedly. What did you say?
Figure out what's going on, and the fact that I'm just trying to figure out how to get rid of this thing. Maybe
periods climb our way.
Mostly, yes. And I figured there's no better source of information than to go and maybe directly ask. But I also thought maybe that was a bad idea, so I thought maybe doing the worst thing possible. Long story short, though, I'd love to get rid of this thing.
Well, yes, that's not exactly the problem here. I appreciate the initiative, honestly, I do. I'm sure we all would. But I'm telling you now, it would probably be far safer for you to scamper on back where you came from.
Oh, I live rather far from here.
Yes, well. at least scamper on out of here, at least. As he's saying this, there's this kind of feeling of electricity in the air. You can kind of feel the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Back with Yui and Maya, Yui and Santiago, and Bader as well. You three see past the crowd. Well, Santiago does. Santiago, you see past the crowd. Suddenly, the half-elf man kind of walking behind some stalls, reaching down, and then suddenly pulling up Lucas.
Damn it. Yeah, Lucas got in there.
Vader knows everything.
Oh no.
You see them talking. What are you guys doing as you're watching them talk?
She didn't get like arrested or something.
I mean, there is nothing to do unless somebody has a brilliant plan.
Gonna become worse criminal.
Hey, Bader, do you know how we got in there? So
I'm still in the crowd, aren't I?
Suddenly, Balix interjects. Do you feel that? Do you feel that in the air? Do you feel that? The little sparkles, little jingles, little electricity, the lightning. Feel the hairs on your neck stand up. Feel it course through your skin. Feel that energy in the atmosphere. It's coming.
What's
10, 9,
I'm casting message.
7,
I'm telling Lucas to get out of there.
6, 5, 4. As he says 4, there's this sudden explosion of sound in the sky above you.
Lucas talking to the half-elf, all he says is, I suggest if you want to live, we better not stand here and hold my collar and move.
He gives you this smile and just looks at you as this enormous explosion erupts in the air, like 50 cannons going off at the exact same moment. And for an instant, the world is this blindingly bright light. As all of you instinctively blink and cover your eyes, still you're able to see through your eyelids and arm this enormous bolt, this column of lightning arc down from the center of the spiraling clouds, crashing into the main few stalls here right in front of the inn. I call it a column of lightning. It's barely able to be called lightning. It is this blinding pillar of light and plasma, which you can feel exuding heat and energy as it scorches the air around it, crashing into the ground, disintegrating stalls all around it. And all this, it feels like it happens for eternity, but it really only happens for an instant. The tiniest fraction of a second, and suddenly all of your eyes are flashing with sparks and confused bubbles as a tall, towering form stands now in the smoking crater that this column of lightning left. And
What is that?
you guys are distracted. You're staring at this. And you notice, kind of, just for an instance, before you're more drawn back to what you're looking at, Balix is nowhere to be fucking seen. He was right next to you. He is nowhere fucking near anyone.
God.
In that instant of light flashing, he's gone. But all of you look. Not all of the council members were just far away enough to not have been affected in any way. And they all seem to be looking. Some of them with quite steely eyes, some of them a little more afraid. And out of this enormous smoke-filled crater, the smoke suddenly disperses. And you see this enormous towering form. You guys thought the moss giant was big at like 15 foot. This thing is way fucking better. Bigger. It is about 30 feet tall or more.
I literally was thinking 30 feet.
It is this enormous figure with these rippling muscles and blue skin. Their arms are a little too long to be a normal human's. Their legs are a little too long. Their limbs just a little bit too long to be completely normal. It kind of gives this really strange, distorted feeling where this 30-foot tall person seems even taller than blue skin. You can't tell what gender they are. They could honestly be either, and they have these enormous, these lean, rippling muscles as they kind of stand a little straighter. This heavily adorned plate armor or scale armor kind of covering their body except for their arms. On their head is this enormous lock of flowing hair that kind of drifts upward off of their body. And on their face is this terrifying look of confidence, power, and disdain. Perhaps the most striking feature about them entirely, though, are these golden bands that seem to wrap around their arms and kind of trail off towards the back, almost like arrows. And this strange floating golden structure hanging in the air behind their head.
Okay, what's it want? Let's get to that point.
The council members in the front, not all of them, but a couple of them. The human, the dwarf, and the halfling all kind of like bow their heads and their bodies. However, the others stand very proud and very firm against them.
I do the bow.
Yeah. The entire crowd around this plaza is dead silent. And the only sound that can be heard is everyone's breathing in this kind of hushed, breathless anticipation of what the fuck's going to happen next. And the sound of footsteps as someone's walking. Quite confidently, quite assuredly striding forward in these clacking heels. Looking to see where this noise is coming from, you see this blue genasi approaching with, you're pretty sure it's a man, but he's wearing these very, very high heels, and he's walking along kind of like clacking against the stone ground. The rest of his outfit looking very fancy, very formal, and he seems to be holding a scroll in his hand. And he approaches, kind of going between the stalls, basically ignoring the guards, who are completely like out of it, like what the fuck is happening? And he walks forward and he strides forward, his heels clicking against the stone as he kind of approaches. And he stands in front of this enormous giant, and he turns around towards the council, and he says, as an emissary of Iasius, I have come forward, I apologize for being late, to continue our diplomacy meetings. Iasius apologizes for the dramatic entrance, but sometimes a show of power is required to make where we stand known, as it were. Excuse me. He kind of like fumbles around in his bag he has. It's like, he kind of like pulls out another scroll and he flips it. He's like, ooh, hold on. Dudley Sionbeard, Maynor, Jism, Tigra, Solceria Valpatius, and Jerry. By order of the world government, as you know, as the state has been confirmed before, even though you have denied this meeting, you are here under court. He puts it in his bag. By the world government, who are being tried. Can I put some more papers in? I believe a more acceptable location than this can be found or procured post-haste. I expect it to be done, and Iasius does as well. And he kind of just stands there, and there's this kind of like heavy silence as the crowds are basically like, just everyone is just like in complete silence. What are you guys doing?
Lucas just stands there. I mean, he's so taken aback. He's just like, he looks over the fucking half elf. He's like,
the half elf though, the kind of like smile he had is completely gone now, and he's looking with like dead certainty at this giant. He is this like look of anger or like some kind of upset in his eyes, as he's let go of your call right now. He seems to have forgotten that you're there.
I understand that Jerry is probably the old man, but for some reason my brain was like, what if that's the half elf?
No. What if that's the Dragonborn?
Gary would be so funny as the Dragonborn. It would be so fucking funny.
Dudley Sionbeard, Maynor, Jism Tigra, Solceria Valpatius, and Jerry.
I ship Jism and Jerry.
The old man.
Their ship name is Jizzery.
Oh no, I hate it.
That's what you get for naming your character Cum.
I didn't!
But you did.
Saying that.
Jizz.
You did. His name is fucking Jizz.
It's not. God, stop being like this. What's wrong with you?
Jizz.
Cole's back.
Okay,
People-
what sex jokes have I missed this time?
Oh,
Jizzle.
none of interest,
Jizzle.
really.
Okay, I'm back.
Jizzery.
Jizzery.
Don't worry about it. Mine is trying to take a perfectly innocent name and spin it in the worst way possible. I just don't understand. Anyway, continue to what you're doing. There's this kind of like heavy silence, and the half elf who had grabbed your collar before, kind of like steps out from behind the stalls, and he approaches the Genasi with the same kind of confidence and stride as the Genasi had coming here in the first place. You can see the giant's eyes tracking everything that's happening right here. In your pocket, Lucas, you hear, "What's going on? Take me out! I need to see." Stop!
I hit the bag and I.
I need to see what's happening. Take me out
Well, if
now.
you want to see what's happening, you better let me hold you with my actual hand.
Fine, let
And
me
you need
out.
to be quiet.
I can't promise that, but I'll try.
Yes, be quiet. And I kind of gingerly dig in my bag and I hold him up like as if I'm holding a book to my chest. Like I'm holding it like this, basically.
Okay. He is silent as this is happening. Are you doing anything else?
No.
Okay. Yui, Bader, Santiago, what are you three doing?
Watching.
For a second, I kind of turn to ask Balix, and then I see that he's not there, and I just kind of go, of course. Other than that, I'm just stunned. I don't. What do you do in this situation?
Tell Justin you're watching and let the plot proceed.
Yui, Bader, what are you
You
doing?
hit resume on the cutscene.
Yeah.
It's not a cutscene. You guys can do whatever. If you want to shoot her or them, go ahead.
I'm not gonna do that. Why
Like
would I
Yui,
do
Bader,
that?
what are you doing?
I
This
think
thing's like-
while everyone's distracted by the giant thing, I'm gonna move a little closer to where Lucas is.
I thought you were gonna say you're gonna start pickpocketing.
No.
So, Rob,
I stand
it's
with
crime
dice and
time.
fortunes. I don't pickpocket. Yui has standards.
You're the Robin Hood of Spireheld.
Professionals
No.
have standards.
Yes. Professionals have
So you kind of
standards.
like move a little closer, which is
Right.
really easy through this
Be
stunned
efficient.
crowd.
Have a plan to kill everyone you meet.
Peter, what are you doing?
Just watching.
Okay. The half elf that was grabbed a hold of your collar earlier strides ahead. The dragonborn right beside him. Jism's still on top of the stall cart, but he looks considerably very serious for what you've heard. The half elf strides ahead, and you can hear him kind of angrily grumbling to himself before he comes to a stop right in front of the Genasi. And he goes, "You know perfectly well, just as much as the rest of us do, that these accusations and tryings are false. They are completely benign. There is nothing to them. The world government cannot force their power onto us as part of our agreement. What you're doing here should be worthy of the court." The white dragonborn kind of comes up behind him as well, puts a hand on his shoulder, and seems to whisper something in his ear. And after a moment of kind of like tense silence, he seems to nod and agree. Before kind of stepping a little closer to the Genasi, saying something to him under his breath is impossible. You can roll me perception since you're the closest, Sam.
$17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
That's pretty good. You're able to get a more general idea of what he's saying to each other. it sounds like the elf or the half elf is basically saying like, we need to do this in a more private place. What is happening here is false, is ridiculous, but we need to at least do this more professionally. And the Genasi in the floor kind of glances up towards the enormous blue giant, and the giant looks back at him, their eyes kind of connecting, and the enormous giant kind of slowly nods. The hair around them floating as if they were underwater. And with this enormous step that seems to cover several feet, the giant begins walking. With these heavy thuds that slam to the concrete. You can see where they were stood is now a fucking crater with stalls and crops and items having been basically disintegrated, along with like a foot of stone for where they landed. And they seem to be walking towards the center area, the walled-in area of Outer Spireheld, to the north of you guys, currently. The old human kind of turns around, begins waving his hands, shouting at the guards, basically disperse the crowds, get everyone out of here, clear a path, make sure that everything is fine, make sure that everything's good, just get everyone out of here, disperse the crowds, make everyone go back to their business, nothing to see here, basically. And after this kind of long kind of like moment where the guards are rushing around, pushing everyone out of the way, making sure everyone kind of clears a path for the giant and the council members to the main gates, they finally make their way there. You guys are kind of swept along the crowd. You're a little more closer. You were a little more in the crowd. So you're kind of getting swept along as well. What are you trying to do?
I'm gonna try and push myself out of the crowd. Get out of the crowd.
Okay, more towards the back?
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of like push your way out. It's not too hard. Everyone's trying to get towards the front, so really you're kind of not really going against the stream here. Lucas, you are currently in the stall area. It is like basically walking by you. What are you doing?
Just watching it happen.
Okay, just chilling.
Just chilling.
You see the elf. You see the half elf who saw you before is looking at you. He's like,
gonna back up a little. I'm gonna get out of the way, but like I'm gonna back
he's
up
like
enough
gesturing
to get out
like,
of the way.
He's like gesturing like, more. Go.
Moving.
Okay, are you trying to get back to the crowd?
I'm trying to get back to the crowd, but I'm also trying to stay at a vantage point that Galileo is happy.
Okay. The book in your arms is being quiet, but it is muttering to itself, like really quickly.
Can I hear what he's saying?
Sure.
Woo! Is that plus perception?
Sure.
17, 18, 19, unnatural. 15, 16, 17, 18, yeah, 19. I almost said unnatural 20.
He's speaking some language, you're not entirely sure, but you can understand what he's saying. Excuse me. But his words aren't fully words. They're like loads of different words that have been broken up and stitched together, as if he's reading from a crumpled up and burnt script that's not complete at all. Like, it's just a bunch of like what sounds like random syllables or half words, quarter words strung together in loose sentences. It sounds like he's got like a whole bunch of like different mixed up. It just sounds like something's really going weird.
I'm whispering. I'm like kind of like tapping one of the edges of the outside of the book. Galileo.
He doesn't stop.
Good.
He's not continuing. He keeps continuing.
I'm continuing to hold Galileo kind of like this, but like closer to me, backing up even more.
So you're trying to make your way to the crowd. Lucas, you're backing up, but you're still trying to stay in the main area. Bader and Santiago, what are you two doing?
Oh, it seems you were both
Maya,
a little bit.
Maya, you're muted.
You're muted.
Oh, I did change shirts. I was warm. I'm just kind of shocked. Haha, fun. I'm trying to look out for everybody else, see where they're at, but also not like I don't want to get the ire of the guards when everyone's on high tension.
Yeah. The guards are currently pushing everyone and like yelling at everyone to disperse. The guards seem to be confused as well and panicked, so they're just basically trying to like they're taking it out on everyone else by like yelling, like, "Get the hell back!" You know. Bader, what are you doing?
I'm getting out of that crowd. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, you're backing up with Yui.
Yeah.
What's up, Lucas? What are you trying to do?
Can I do the thing that Galileo doesn't like to see if I can snap him out of it and open him up?
Sure. Okay, you're gonna open them up.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, Galileo, if you don't stop, I'm gonna open you. And I know you don't
open
like
him
that.
up. And he doesn't respond. You open him up, and his pages are covered in these spiral drawings and words kind of like meshing all over the place. And like everything is fucked up and messed up, and there's words going from one page to another and a spiral of other words. And they're all barely words. They're like mixed up jumbles of letters and like consonants and just a whole bunch of stuff stuffed together. And he doesn't even do this. And as you're watching, the page is getting more and more filled out.
I'm gonna let it keep happening.
Santiago, so you're trying to find everyone, but are you keeping an eye on the giant itself?
Oh, yeah. I think I'm concerned about being stepped on.
Yeah. Well, everyone's keeping everyone out of the way. So the guards are keeping everyone out of its path, basically. And you can see the large wooden kind of portcullis gate being lifted up in front of you guys. As you're watching, though, the giant's kind of gaze kind of like trails across the crowd, first to the right, kind of looking at each individual person, their eyes kind of flicking from person to person, with this very steady look, if that makes sense. This very confident, steady look. And there's this kind of look of like they don't really care, if that makes sense. There's very little
apathy.
There's a lot of apathy. There's very little connection, I guess you could say. Or not connection, but you know what I mean. There's a lot of apathy, like that, Sam. However, as it kind of trails its eyes over the left side, it suddenly stops. And for an instant, you're like, what's going on? And then you realize, Santiago, or at least you think, it kind of feels like it. But you're looking at it, and it feels like it's looking directly at you. And as you watch, there's the look of apathy changes to a look of disgust and disdain as it stares at you.
Okay.
You can see over the crowd that is currently being moved and jostled, and everyone's
stare back with disdain.
There is this pressure on you. This like overwhelming like pressure. It might literally be atmospheric or barometric pressure. You don't fucking know, but it feels like something is like it's like a really disappointed parent looking at you in a weird way to put it like that. And this happens and it feels like an eternity for you. It's suddenly being a lot taller than other people. Lucas, you notice this as well. You don't notice it looking at Santiago. Or maybe you do. Roll me perception. Yui, Bader, and Lucas, roll me perception.
23. 19 plus 4.
18.
Sean?
Modified 20.
Damn. All three of you notice that this thing is, you think, staring directly at Santiago. And you notice that look of disdain or disgust and something in their expression. And Lucas and Santiago, you notice because you can see over the crowd. The Genasi look back up at the giant as well and like put a single hand against like the giant's closed leg. And the gaze between you and Santiago, it breaks. And it turns back, it continues on, completely ignoring you.
You were about to say me because of what Galileo was muttering.
Galileo is still going fucking crazy. Galileo's having a fucking seizure at the moment. Like, you have it open and it's starting to, like, shake, basically.
I'm, like, doing this on him. I'm like,
What the fuck up? Just like what you do with seizure patients. Yeah, seizure victims. You just smack them. You smack them until they get better. After a few minutes, though, the guards are pushing everyone away. You're still behind the stall, so you're okay, Lucas. But eventually, the giant wooden portcullis opens up. The giant steps through, and it closes back shut again. And there's this moment of confusion and not panic, but like everyone, the whole crowd is like asking the guards, is like people like, what is going on? What the hell was that? The skies are clearing up, by the way. The swirling clouds are dispersing and clearing up. Excuse me. And very quickly, it's turning from an oppressively overcast, dark day into a sunny one. As this thing is stepping into the walls. As the crowd is dispersing and people are like allowed to go back into the main plaza, although a contingent of guards have basically set up a perimeter around the lightning crater and the stalls, and they're asking people to basically come up and like say, was this stall yours? We will reimburse, or rather the Laborers Guild, not the Laborers Guild, the Merchants Guild? Let me check.
I think it's probably Merchants Guild.
So, I think it's the Merchants Guild. Yeah, the Merchants Guild is like, well, they'll reimburse you if you are a part of it, and like even if you're not, stuff like that. Like come claim your stall, check, what was your land, what was your area, and they'll take care of it, or at least try and help. But as the crowds are dispersing, the giant is now out of sight. What are you all doing?
Lucas is very concerned about Galileo, so he's almost kind of sat down on the ground and sat Galileo on the ground watching the pages.
The pages are just filling up and more and more and more. And it's not filling up a little bit and then switching pages. Like, the 1 or 2 pages is getting covered in, like, ink. Like the words are so dense and the letters and the symbols and the pictures are so dense, it's like turning the page black.
I'm gonna flip to another page, and I'm gonna pull out my ink and quill, and all I'm going to write is, I don't know what's happening to you, but if you can actually read this, gotta stop.
The book stopped shaking.
Get some help.
And there's this line of jumbled up consonants and half words written right below what you did, almost like a response.
Can I make out what it's saying?
It is just complete gibberish.
Well, you're saying quarter words, so like any words I can make out.
There's like it's complete gibberish.
Forgot vowels.
But at the same time, it's gibberish. It's not the uncontrolled, unrestrained gibberish spiraling like in the previous pages. This is a short, concise sentence with a period. So it's like someone who's had fucking brain damage trying to write something and not being able to understand the words.
Can I try and make out what this sentence says?
You can roll me an incredibly hard. You can roll me an incredibly hard, just straight intelligence check. Or Arcana, I guess. What are the other two doing as Lucas just sat down with the book? Lucas, where are you sitting down with this book, by the way?
Where I was standing last.
People are now
go to Lucas.
Yeah, people are now filtering into like the stall area, so you might want to move away from there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go move away somewhere that's like quiet under a tree, kind of like to do this.
You can move away more towards okay. There are a couple trees a little bit to the north of you. If you look on the map, they're right beneath or right below and to the left. Right. So Lucas is going there. What is Santiago, Yui, and Vader doing?
Since I'm seeing Santiago going over, I'm going to go with him.
19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 for You said it could be Arcana or what else?
Just Arcana. Arcana makes no sense.
25.
No, you don't understand it.
Not even with my abilities.
It's to you it looks like gibberish. It would have taken basically a ridiculously high roll to have passed that.
25 feels pretty damn high.
Yeah, but it was higher than that.
I would have needed a 30 is what you're fucking saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, just roll a 31.
I'm just going to write back. While I can't understand what this is, I'm going to hold on to you for now.
There's another
Period.
line. It's gibberish.
Responding, I'm just going to say, I still can't read that. Not that it's your fault, period. Continuing, going to say, I'm going to hold you in my hands for a while to see if I can try to do something.
There's a really long, like a paragraph of gibberish, like 4 different sentences.
Just Lucas mumbling out loud. He's like, Galileo, I wish you would just go back to talking.
Okay. While Lucas is doing that, Yui and Bader, you two are heading closer to Lucas. You see him
Lucas
kind of
has
sitting near
got
the
a
tree with Galileo.
very worried look on his face, and his hair, usually he's doing the thing I'm doing by keeping it out of his face, but he's very disheveled, I guess is the look that you would call that. Very... the look is very concerned.
Santiago, what are you doing?
Sort of just out of impulse, trying to regroup. Not really sure what to think. A little shooketh about being glared at by a 30-foot monster. So, yeah, just trying to regroup. Trying not to look kind of spooked, but I'm pretty spooked.
Okay. Lucas, as you're trying to communicate with Galileo, the rest of the group kind of approaches, and you're all kind of gathered underneath this tree. People milling about, guards trying to basically keep people from like asking more questions, trying to disperse people, keep everyone away. Lots of people are now gathering in the stalls. Lots of people are trying to like complain about the damages done, all sorts of stuff. So it's a little busy, but people are slowly dispersing more and more.
Well, I can say throughout the years that I've lived in Spireheld, that was certainly one of the more interesting sights to see.
Lucas is not
seems as
Yeah.
though it seems like Galileo's not having a good time. Is everything all right, Lucas?
He's fine. He's fine.
He doesn't sound fine from the way you're
I
talking.
flip over to the page that's almost completely black, and I hold him up by the book. Not fine!
Oh,
You don't need to yell.
that's not good.
This just started after he said he wanted to see what was going on, so I decided to pick him up and let him see. But then after that, he just started drawing spirals and writing words that don't have consonants, and I can't make it out, even regardless of my abilities, so now I'm kind of at a loss.
I mean, it's a fair reaction for once to sort of understand him.
I was shaking until I started writing in him.
That I don't understand, but
That thing.
felt like it was looking right into my soul.
Felt like when it was around, the air was static.
Shauna, is that you?
Big Shauna.
Big Shauna.
Floated from the sky.
I just kind of close Galileo, and like right before I close him, I'm just gonna write. I'll fill you in later.
Okay. As you close him, you notice on a couple of blank pages, there seems to be, on the pages that you were talking to him with, he seems to be doing more like circles and like drawings. So they seem to be a little more controlled this time as you close him.
I'm just gonna basically, like, I know I've been holding him with Mage Hand and putting him in my bag, but generally now Lucas is kind of doing this all the time with it.
Lucas suffocates Galileo.
Oh no.
He has to breathe.
He's got lungs.
I'm keeping him where he can, like, he supposedly sees from, kind of outwards.
I got you.
So, Lucas.
Yes, what?
I hate to put more stress on your shoulders, but it appears we have run into family.
Ah, yes, perfect. Where is he?
Wait, was that the ghoul man?
Yeah, that would be Lucas's uncle.
The Ghoul Man. I love
No
it.
doubt
Is he
about
alive?
He usually looks like
Yes.
that.
I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know where he gets the money. I don't know how he knows about this. I'm honestly getting a little annoyed with not knowing anything about him, but
I don't know anything about him either, but I don't
he
shut
didn't
stuff
tell
up.
anything.
He was saying some stuff about witnessing them, and when the air shattered like that, he vanished.
What did he?
Sounds like him.
He was counting down from 10 to when the giant would appear, but he was wrong. It appeared when he was at 4, not 1, so maybe he was embarrassed.
He ran away because he was embarrassed about being wrong about when it was going to come. I don't think he's ever been embarrassed in his life. To be honestly.
Again, does it mention anywhere that I should go?
The scribble, the chicken scroll, you're not really able to get much more than you already have.
Yeah.
Where did you mention you saw him last?
Points to where where they originally were.
Balix is there.
Told you.
He's just standing there.
He's got like a hand. He's got a hand on his hip. He's looking at like where it happened, and he's got like a sandwich in his hand. And he's like eating it.
What?
Okay.
Call over to it. And I'm like, I hope you brought one for me. I'm rather hungry.
Oh, he hears you, and he pulls out another one. But he pulls it out of his pocket, and it's not wrapped. It's just a sandwich.
It'd be that way sometimes.